Thank you very much. This is the July 14th meeting of the Revere City Council Zoning Subcommittee. I'm the chairman, Stephen Reardon. We have with us today subcommittee members Richard Penta, Charles Patch, and Arthur Gonasso, and we're expecting Councilor Novoselsky at some point. But we'll proceed with the agenda tonight. The first matter we have before us is application C-14-05, application for Kids Only After School Inc. seeking permission to raise and reconstruct a non-conforming structure for the operation of an after-school program in the GB district at 85 Broadway, Revere, Massachusetts. We'd like to have the applicant come before us and explain the proposal, and I'd invite them to come forward and state your name and your address, please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Sean Donahue. I'm an attorney. I represent the applicant in this matter for Kids Only After School Incorporated. My office is located at 88 Black Falcon Avenue in Boston, Massachusetts. A little out of breath just climbing those stairs. In any event, what we propose is to raise and reconstruct the building, the existing structure at 85 Broadway, which, as you all may know, is located down at the city of Chelsea and Revere border, down by Route 16. It was a former doctor's office. It's a single-story, presently a single-story structure. About a year ago, we came before you with the proposal to add an addition to the second floor of that existing structure. The proposed use that we're looking for is for an after-school program for children between is it K through 8? K through 8. The lot itself is over 10,000 square feet. Right now, there's room for roughly 11 parking spots, off-street spaces on the property. We're looking to raise and reconstruct the building into construct a two-story building, essentially the same plan that we had before. Instead of just adding the second floor, we're now proposing to raise the entire structure and then build within the same footprint that two-story structure that was originally proposed. The reason why we're doing this is that it's more cost-effective. As crazy as it may sound, it's more cost-effective to raise the existing structure and build a brand-new structure. The benefit, obviously, to the city is that the city will be will have a brand-new building at its gateway coming in from the city of Chelsea or coming off of Route 16. And as far as the program goes, Deborah, would you like to talk about the program? Please. If I may turn this over to Deborah Grasso, who's the executive director. I'm sorry, Deborah Keegan. I call her by maiden name. But in any event, Deborah Keegan, who is the executive director for Kids Only.
Good afternoon. Thank you. The program that will be housed on Broadway will be licensed by the Department of Early Education and Care to provide expanded learning during the out-of-school time hours for children in grades kindergarten through grade 8. Our funding will be from primarily the United Way Mass Bay, the Department of Early Education and Care that provides vouchers, income-eligible subsidies, and for those children that are under supportive care with the Department of Children and Families who may be with families right now who are in transition. Many of those families right now are in transition, may be homeless, in the military, might be searching job training, education. We also work with a significant number of children whose families who are being raised by grandparents and other relatives. Our mission is to provide expanded learning opportunities for children, enrichment activities, homework help, and care so that families can go to work and children are safe and off the streets during the out-of-school time hours. Our license capacity, we hope to be, according to the department, we will have 120 children there on a daily basis. The children will all be from the city of Revere. We will have transportation provided by the department for children that are in need of transportation from school to the after-school program and from the after-school program to home. We will be open year-round. In the summertime, we'll be open from 7 in the morning to 6 p.m. so that families can continue to work, and we will be open every day after school. We will close only for 16 days a year. Those are the major holidays. So again, I'm here right now to answer any other questions you may have.
Does the committee have any questions? Councilor Ganasso.
Mr. Chairman, this hearing before us seems to be a formality based on the fact that this city council voted unanimously to approve our application based on what we found is to be a very solid merit and a goodwill gesture to our community and a very good productive opportunity for our citizens. So the only difference being is the same program that we all agreed with was beneficial to our community, and they're going to raise the building and make it new. That's the long and short of it, on the same footprint. So I see no objection whatsoever, since we all agreed on it before. I just think that this is a wonderful opportunity for our citizens to have a new building for the children to go into, and it seems to me, and from all we've read and heard about Deborah and her staff, they do an unbelievable job. And I give credit to the way her attorney presents himself before this council. I mentioned that before. I happen to think that the way he presents himself, it's just in a manner that's very, very pleasing to someone sitting on this side of the fence. And listening to you, sir, you just spell it out in layman's terms, and you don't try to blow smoke. You just try to do an objective product for your client, and you do a well job. And I'm all in favor of this, obviously. Thank you, and good luck with it. It's a great project.
Thank you, Councilor Ganasso. It would behoove me to correct you on one point. We did not all agree with the first application.
Well, all the good guys did.
All the good guys, okay. Councilor Penta.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not going to belabor this issue, but Councilor Granasso basically said it. We voted this thing 10-1, to be exact, and all it is we voted this, and instead of having an older first floor, you got a brand new first floor. So I think we're all in favor for any after-school programs, if it's for the city, if it's private, if it's whatever it is. We all know statistics prove that, you know, the worst hours of any crime or any pregnancy or any devious stuff that is being done is between the hours of when school's let out and supper time, kids will be home. So I think the more we offer the children of the city, the better off the city will be. I'm looking forward to you building it. It's in my ward. It's the first building coming from another city. That would actually brighten and open up that area a little bit. And it's part of the mayor's Broadway revitalization. And we're best to start at the beginning of the beach with a brand new building. So I'm all in favor of it. I don't see any reason to vote this down now. We already approved it, except for it's actually better than it was the first time. So with that being said, I'm wholeheartedly in favor of it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Penta. I'd like to welcome Councilor Zambudo, Councilor Haas, and Councilor Morabito to the chambers, as well as Councilor Powers as well. Any other councils? Councilor Patch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say that I voted for it the first time, and I just want to, this new project goes along with the mayor and administration rebuilding Broadway. I think it's great to have a new building go up there, and And what can you say about aftercare? I mean, it's so necessary today more than ever. So you will have my vote on this today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Patch. Councilor Hess.
As indicated when you were up before, you indicated it was for the project. I believe it's a great asset to the community. It's going to be run properly, and anything for the youth of the community, we're here for it. Thank you.
I have a few questions. I'm looking at this plan, Councilor, and it looks to me like I have the existing plan, which has a one-story masonry building in front of me with, looks like about 21 parking spaces on that. It appears that your new plan has about 11 parking spaces, one of which is a van drop-off, and the other of which is a handicapped space. Is that accurate?
That's accurate, yes.
And was the parking plan in the original plan to include the spaces on Revere Beach Parkway? I count 4 of them that now appear to be a play area.
No.
How many?
My recollection was no.
And how many spaces were determined prior to the change in this plan for parking on the previous model?
I believe what we're proposing presently is the same proposal that we had, is the exact same proposal as we previously proposed a year ago.
Including the fact that there's no parking spaces on the Revere Beach Parkway side?
Correct.
Okay.
That's on, when you say the Revere Beach Parkway side,
I would say call it the southerly side of the existing building,
yes,
which is now going to be a play area.
that's correct.
So that wasn't considered to be a parking area at the original plan?
No.
You sure of that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Same
So
proposal.
let me ask you about the footprint of the building itself. Is that the exact same footprint?
Yes.
Okay. And is this facility going to accommodate any additional students other than ones that were proposed on the prior proposal?
I don't believe so, but if I may just...
Same number of students? Okay.
As we stated before, Mr. Chairman, if I may just interject for a minute.
Sure.
The students will be bused from the schools directly to the facility, and then they'll be picked up at staggered times from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. They can be picked up at any given time. So it's not as if the school doors open and everyone just leaves en masse. They're buses that pick them up. They drop them off at staggered times. The children are picked up by their parents or whomever at staggered times between the hours of 3 and 6.
And is the van drop-off space that's delineated here in your proposal, is that going to be where all the vehicles that pick up and drop off students, are they going to all be able to fit into that?
One at a time.
Well, yeah,
yes.
one at a time. That's what I meant.
Yes.
But there's not going to be any long buses or anything like that moving into that area?
No.
And the reason I ask is that, and I know it's a temporary situation up on that we now have across the street here, but I have had quite a few complaints about the bus that's currently dropping off students and picking up students being there maybe for longer than is necessary, running with the engine running. And I know it's a temporary situation, but just the same, I would hesitate to endorse something that would have a vehicle parked on Broadway for 15 to 20 minutes, 4 or 5 times a day, especially a large bus. So are we planning on a smaller vehicle? Is that the idea?
Yes, for the most part. And that's what we have now, with the
What do you mean for the most part? Yeah, please, yeah. It would be better if one of you spoke at a time.
Yes, we would have small vehicles.
Just small vehicles.
And we would have one large school bus, which we presently use now, to pick up the children from the various schools at dismissal time. We use that school bus at the dismissal time as the school buses are picking up. It's the same sort of pickup as what's going on in the city.
Well, let me ask you that. I mean, that's the problem that has been described to me. Where is that bus going to pick up the children?
at the various elementary schools,
Well, all right, then where are they going to drop off the children?
at our site on Broadway.
Where on your site on Broadway are they going to?
In the parking lot.
So the bus is going to pull into the parking lot?
Yes,
Even the large bus?
yes.
And it doesn't appear that it would fit into that drop-off area. Are you suggesting otherwise?
No, I think it would, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't.
Well, I'm just looking at the size of I'm familiar with the property.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the size of the spaces. The spaces from the old drawings appear to be able to accommodate a large car or a small van or something like that, but it really
Right.
doesn't look like it's going to accommodate a school bus.
I don't, I mean, do you see it? I don't see it that way at all. but-
All right, if you
And
don't see it
have
that way,
a-
you're suggesting to me
Right,
that the bus
yeah,
isn't going to be on the
right.
street, right?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Bus is going to be on your property, want to discharge the
If
students?
do you have a problem if they are? If they drop the children off,
Mm-hmm.
they park in front of our facility, children get off the bus, just like they do when they go home. They get off the school bus, they get off at the bus stop, right?
So I'm hearing two different
It's the
things.
same- well, no, I'm asking your opinion. Is
My
that okay?
opinion is I'd rather see it off the street completely because obviously it's going to...
Okay, so, yes. good. Because we have a bus and we pick up after school, that's at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's all vans. So, yes, so at the beginning of the after-school day, the students are picked up, as all students are, from the various elementary schools.
Right.
In this case, instead of going to their neighborhood drop-off, where they go home to their houses, these children can't go home to an empty house. So they go to this drop-off.
I understand
The
that.
same thing. Which my preference is for them to go into the parking lot, and we will do our best to accommodate that need of yours.
It's not of mine. It's
Your
anybody who
question,
drives
your
down
question,
Broadway.
your question.
Yeah.
So if not, then we would drop right there in front. Students get off the bus with their monitor that's on the bus with them, and they walk into the building. And it
So-
takes all of 5 minutes, and they're in the center, and they're safe.
So you're saying to...
And that's just the students that get on this one school bus.
Okay,
The rest of the students come by van.
all right. So there's going to be one school bus there daily
Yes,
dropping off the kids
yes.
that may or may not use the driveway in the parking area, or may park out front of the building.
Correct.
All right.
My preference is like I just said to you, in my head, we're going into the driveway, which is that big parking lot.
Right.
So, but if we cannot, then we'll drop right there, come into the building, and you won't see that bus anymore.
And you say it's 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
So you're not offering a guarantee on that at all, though?
It happens now. And I went to the neighbors across the street right here at City Hall. You
Yeah.
can look any day after school. I've asked our neighbors. that
Across
they
the
have-
street don't have the problem. It's the people up the street that are having the problem.
No, but I asked our neighbors across the street because every day the same thing. We have 100 capacity now. We will have 120. But every day it's the same sort of thing. And it's been going on since the beginning of the school year. The students get off, they get and they get off the bus. They go into the after-school program, and I think that's the biggest burden of all of those 5 minutes.
Well, the only reason I brought it up was because, first of all, I've been told it's longer than 5 minutes. And I've been told that the bus is actually up the hill on the 250 Broadway side and waiting there for as long as 15 minutes at the engine room.
Right, but it's the same time of drop-off. Go around the city. Every child that's getting dropped off from these buses around the city take the exact amount of time as our kids.
I'm
Our
just
kids' families are working, that's all.
All I'm
We're the
suggest-
home. They come home to us.
All I'm
It's the
suggest-
same sort of drop-off time. That's what I'm answering to you. It's
Well,
nothing unusual.
is 15 minutes
in the
5
city.
minutes?
No, it's 5 minutes.
And you're telling me it's 5 minutes
It takes
on
5
Reservoir.
minutes for students to get off the bus to go into their home. It's 5 minutes.
Okay, that may well be. I'm asking you if the bus is there for 5 minutes or 15 minutes.
5 minutes.
No more than 5 minutes.
No more than 5 minutes.
Including its present application.
Yes,
And you're expecting that for the future application.
yes.
All right. Now, as far as the students are concerned, have you, at the last time you were here, I believe you told us that you thought the majority of the students would be Revere students, correct?
Correct.
Is that still your opinion as to this?
Absolutely, yes.
So there'll be at least 60 students from Revere attending your program, you believe?
At least. Right now, we have 85,
All from Revere?
all from Revere. We can't keep up with the need. The 120 student capacity, I'm going to tell you, we're going to need another building soon because we're already bursting at the seams with 100 right now as we speak. We cannot keep up with the need in the city. There's a great need for after-school care here for school-age children.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other quick, Council Zambudo?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to, at this point, endorse the new plan and endorse wholeheartedly for kids only after school. They've been a good neighbor. They're willing to do whatever we've asked them to do, and I expect this building to be magnificent. And if we do have a parking problem, I'm sure we're going to work it out. If there's a problem with that bus, I'm sure we're going to come up with a way to make it work for everybody. So I just want to say publicly that I endorse this proposal, and that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other comments from the Council? At this point, if no one else has any objection, I'll entertain a motion on this. There being no motion, I'll report the entire matter that we've discussed out to the full City Council this evening at 6 o'clock. And if the President decides to take up a vote, which I am guessing he probably will, there will be one. Thank you very much. The next matter before us is C-14-07, an application by Rachel Ferranti of 19 Overlook Ridge, Unit 305, Revere, seeking permission to alter a pre-existing non-conforming use for the purpose of operating a dance studio within the RB district at 225 Beach Street, Revere, Massachusetts. Councilor.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Joseph Cottogio, 1 Sprague Street, Revere, representing the applicant, Rachel Ferranti, who is excited and anxious for the opportunity to bring her dance school to Revere and service the children and families of the local community. She, as we indicated in our initial application before the council, is also supported by her extended family, only a portion of which is here with her tonight in their support. With that said, I know I had spoken to the ward councilor regarding the building and the situation with regard to parking and traffic. We can assure this subcommittee, as we will the council, that the student safety and the neighborhood safety, safety for the neighborhood children and families will always be our utmost concern. We will tailor class size, class schedule, drop-off routines to affect the utmost in safety and concerns for the surrounding neighborhood. We are hopeful for your support for a positive report to the council, and here to answer any questions you might have.
Committee members first. Councilor Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Joe, I have just one concern, and that's the impact traffic-wise on the neighborhood down there. I don't know if you're aware or not, but some of those, there's a couple of those homes down there that don't even have driveways. We have the traffic from the medical center. We have the traffic from the other facility on the right-hand side of Beach Street. I'm in favor of this, but I want to make perfectly clear that I would expect the operator down there to have the kids dropped off, nobody parking all over the place waiting for kids. I mean, there's a place on Revere Street, and that's normally what they do. They drop the kids off and they come back and pick them up. Because again, as I said, that's an area that's heavily impacted down there. And I think it's a great addition. That used to be, it was a union building years ago, and also I think it was the Knights of Columbus. And I'm sure there was considerable traffic down there at that time. But as you know, the population in this city is growing daily. We have more dwelling units in the city now than we've ever had before. So again, I would ask that you convey that message to the proponents of this project. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Council Powers. Council Ganasso.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As John Powers just spoke, I do have a dance studio located right on heavily trafficked Revere Street, and we don't seem to have a problem there at all. It's behooving upon the person who operates the dance studio to make sure that their clients are safe, that they come to their facility. So everybody bear in mind that they're dealing with younger people, and there's always adult supervision there with these youngsters. So I'm sure that Rachel Ferranti knows how to control that, and I know that her staff will be trained, as they are now, in caring for these youngsters that come to enjoy and perform in the dance studio. My girls both went to a dance studio, and it's a nightmare for the driver like me, but other than that, it's a fun thing for them. And as a grandfather now, I'm still enjoying recitals. So I think it's a great thing for young kids to get involved with. And in fact, there are some boys at my granddaughter's recital. They're in the class too, so they're not excluded from this group. And I think that safety is a priority, and I'm sure that everybody concerned with this particular type of activity is concerned with safety too. So I have no problem with this at all. I think it's a great venture. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Council Ganasso. Council Patch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to put Council Powers' mind at ease, I had a similar problem with a dance studio they wanted to put on Marble Street, and the neighbors were worried, concerned about the parking, and that was a couple of years ago, and it's been very successful. No complaints. It's just mostly like as Councilor Ganasso says, it's a drop. They just drop them off, and it's really not much of a problem for the neighborhood. I also want to say that I know the families from my ward, and they come from very good people, and she comes highly regarded in her field. And I can say that because my daughter-in-law, I'm all of a sudden I'm going to recitals, which I had 3 boys, and I kind of like hockey games better, but they're great. They're great to watch, and they put so much effort into it, and I know that Rachel worked with these people that my granddaughter's associated with, and they regard her as a very good person. So I am going to be voting for it, and I wish her well. Competition is always good, and whoever does the best job gets the kid, I guess. But and that's all I got to say, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Council Patch. Council Pinta.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to comment on the family aspect. There's not first generations here. There are 3, 4 generations. I see the uncle there, my classmate. He couldn't have a better family than the Ferrantis, and they've been here for a long time. And I think when people are here for 3, 4 generations, they deserve a little acknowledgement. I mean, this city's changing at a fast and rapid rate, and it's families like him that are keeping this close-knitted community together more than other communities. And I commend him for wanting to do business in the city of Revere, and I'm 100% for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Pinta. Council Zambudo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I spoke after the public hearing and threw all the bouquets I'm going to throw. I don't want to keep piling on. We know she comes well regarded in her field. His family's impeccable. We know all that. The only thing I will say is what I said to my friends with the For Kids Only, that if there is a problem with parking, I know we'll be able to address it, and I'm completely comfortable with that. So other than wish you luck, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Council Morabito.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to speak on the business itself, I think it's a great business, a great addition to the businesses we currently have in the city. Most importantly, it keeps the children off the streets and give them an extra activity to do after school. Also, the project itself doesn't seem to pose a safety issue or a traffic issue. And as Councilor Zimbudo said, if there is a parking issue, we will resolve that. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, for my part, I'll just say this, in looking at it from the point of legalities at least, Council, I'm sure you appreciate the fact that that's what we need to do here, and it seems to me, and Councilor Powers alluded to it earlier, the Knights of Columbus was down there a long time ago, and one of my earliest memories is going to functions down there with my family. The Knights of Columbus at the time was a very, very active council, and in fact, they had dances down there, as I recall, and many dinners down there. And in as much as we're judging this by whether or not it is a more invasive, for lack of a better term, prior and non-conforming use, I think we can honestly say that it isn't. It's certainly well in line with the structure of the building and well in line with the prior uses of the building. So, and it's always great to have some place for kids to learn skills like that. And again, Councilor Patch, my daughter alluded to children, and my daughter attended the dance school, and she loved it when she was there. So, as I say, I really can't see how this would be in any way, shape, or form something that we would not be able to permit in any case. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak on this matter? If not, we'll report it out this evening, Councilor. I would imagine it'll be taken to a vote again. It's up to the Council President, but I have a feeling he'll be calling on it to be voted on later this evening at 6 o'clock or thereabouts. Thank you.
Thank you.
The last matter on the agenda is application CZ-14-01, Wakefield Associates, Inc., 544 Salem Street, Wakefield, and 770 Washington Ave, LLC, of Lewis O'Gray Drive, Saugus, requesting an amendment to the Revere City zoning map as described in the petitioner's plan, which we have before us this evening. If I could have the petitioner come before us and explain the application.
Good evening, councilors. My name is Corey Rhodes. I'm an attorney with D'Ambrosio Brown, LLP, 14 Proctor Avenue in Revere. I represent Wakefield Associates, whose principals are Dana Lopez and Ray Nickerson. We're here today to request a map change as to the zoning at 778 Washington Avenue. My clients would like to construct a 4-story, 18-unit residential condominium complex with 2,500 to 3,000 square feet of retail space. It's a nice new building, a real good addition to this property that has fallen in somewhat of a disrepair. Some commercial dumping kind of goes on there currently, piling up of dirt and other construction materials. That'll all be cleaned up to put in this new complex. It's going to be a $4 million investment in the area. I think, tying into kind of the commercial end of it, there's going to be retail space in the front of the building and along a little bit of the side, just so that it keeps that Washington Avenue commercial retail aspect that we have currently. The substantial portion of this property falls in the general business district. Unfortunately, some lots in the back of this property are in the residential B district. That small, odd little section appears it should have at some point already been changed to the general business district when the rest of Washington Ave was changed to this. It represents approximately 7 small residential lots, which I believe at this point really has no chance of turning into single-family housing. So we think in doing this application, we're also cleaning up the zoning map. We're going to be cleaning up the property. We're going to be making a good investment in the city, and we're thinking it's a good project, and we ask for your support. We're happy to answer any questions you might have.
I think before we have you answer any questions from the City Council, I'd like to entertain any other commentators if they'd like to get up and speak at this point. And then we'll allow the City Council to, or the zoning subcommittee and then the City Council to speak. So if you come forward, if you'd like to speak on the matter, whether you're in favor of it or against it, we don't have any particular order here. But do state your name and your address. Thank you.
My name is Salvi Ternulo. I live at 86 Wentworth Road in Revere. I support this project. I believe Mr. Nickerson and Mr. Lopez will construct a quality building that will fit right into the neighborhood. They have a resume of quality work. You can just look at the transformation of the old ITAM. They have made Revere proud with the first-class function facility, Casa Lucia, that I believe the city has never seen. The building will enhance the area and bring added revenue to the city, much more than the current properties. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak from the audience?
Good evening. My name is Priscilla Nickerson, and I am part of the Washington Place condominiums. I'm a lifelong resident of Revere, Massachusetts, along with my husband Raymond, and our partners Sue and Dana Lopez are also born and brought up in Revere. The reason why I'm speaking tonight is because I just want everyone to be rest assured that we will make this property absolutely beautiful. I am on many committees in this city, including the West Revere Neighborhood Committee, the Park Committee that's designing and building the park at the Wayland School. I'm also a committee member of the Revere Shines. I'm also a member of the Dog Park Committee, which is going to institute the first dog park in Revere. And I also began firsthand the Santa Run in Revere, which Revere never had also, which I started it because I was so hopeful that we could get the bridges, as Councilor Patch has helped me, to get the bridges on on Sargent Street and Malden Street in repair. It was in dire repair, so 100% of the Santa Run proceeds went to repairing these. The state helped us with matching the proceeds that I brought in from the Santa Run, and I'm proud to say that in August of this year, that the Malden Street and Sargent Street bridges will be fully repaired and painted. The reason why I bring up these matters is because I just want you to know that my husband and I and my partners, we love Revere, and we want to make it better. And we think that this property will definitely beautify that area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? And I'll open up to City Council, the subcommittee first. Councilor Patch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say, because I did not get any phone calls, actually I did get one phone call, maybe in the negative, but I did call that person to tell him that the meeting was tonight, and he's not here. I want to say, being the Ward 6 councilor, that the development on Washington Ave first was proposed by two other developers that wanted to build both the commercial and apartment complex. They wanted the community development thoughts. The community thoughts that they had to receive various variances. The city response was the proposed developers were too dense for the area. And one example was 45 units of apartments with commercial space. The owner of the land was aggressively marketing the site to many potential developers. She wants to sell the property. Finally, Mr. Nickerson came forward and also sought the advice from the city. He was told the apartments was not what they would like to see at the site. The city wanted to maintain the commercial component, but would also entertain limited residential use if necessary. The condominium concept was a better fit. So we are at a point where we have to make a decision on whether we want a concept that has been presented to the city and to the city councilors, example, 18 condos in commercial space, or an unknown development that could be more detrimental to that area. As a Ward councilor, I'm looking at it as a perspective of what is best for the site from the city's standpoint, but also keeping in mind what the neighborhood feeling are. And as I see out here, I see many neighbors that are in favor of this proposal. And working with, as Priscilla so spoke, that I've worked with her for several years. She's done so much for the Ward 6 area, and we know. And I also know her husband, and I also know his partner, and I've seen some of the work they've done. You can see it up with the Ferncroft, Castle Lucia. They do wonderful work, and they're local guys, and I just feel that I am going to be in support of this, and I feel it's the best thing for my ward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Penta.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, I mean, you take everything on face value and you look at the applicants. I don't know how Priscilla puts up with the husband, but that's another story. But no, he's probably one of the hardest workers that I know. He's a workaholic, and it just doesn't stop. And does he really need this? Probably not. But that's just him. If anybody knows him, and I've known Dana for quite a long time, and he does definitely quality work. If anybody's seen his work that he's done, but the one thing, Priscilla, you're stuck to my thing, the dog park, because my daughter constantly asks me, there's no dog parks in the city of Revere. So I'm sure she'll be excited about the first dog park going. But I don't see any problems with this. I think it's a betterment to the area and more tax dollars to the city of Revere, and we're all looking for things like that. So I'm behind it 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Penta. Council President, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, I judge things on their merit, and on the merit, this is a good project. But I'd be dishonest if I didn't say I judge the quality of the people involved in this project. Priscilla has done so much for this city. She was very modest in her little speech here as to what she's done. She left out 20 or 30 other things that she's done for the city since I've known her. And she's a credit, and the family's a credit to the city. And I'm completely comfortable that this is going to be a project that we're all going to be proud of. It's going to clean up a bad site. Not that, the use is there now. There are friends of mine that are running businesses there. That's irrelevant. But the site is not pretty. And this will be an asset to the community, and I'm supporting it wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Council Novoselsky, and by the way, let me welcome Council Novoselsky, who's a member of the subcommittee of the Chambers. Council Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Apologize for my lateness, but we have to deal with what we have at this particular time. And I do have one question. It was Corey. Corey, on this GB, I know it's good that we're rezoning something that's adjacent to GB from RB, and it's not considered spot zoning. That triangle that we're talking, is the county ditch going to be a natural boundary for this?
It is.
It is, okay.
That's exactly correct. That's the ditch right
So
there.
those 7 lots line up right in that?
Exactly. These are the back lots going right back to the ditch. It's GB on this side, it's GB in front, it's GB over here. But the
Cool.
town line ditch will be that natural
boundary. Excellent. And I've looked at this plan, and being involved in zoning and on the planning board many, many years ago, involved in this particular type of instrument, I've seen it before, and I'm very cautious about, spot zoning, and I'm glad this isn't one of those things that we get into a hassle with. And I've seen the project. I know Ray, and everybody talks about Priscilla doing everything, and Ray's just sitting here like a lump. So, but I know that they're a good family. They run a good show, and I know everybody has said everything good about them. And I just want to reiterate everything without repeating it. And I plan on voting on it. I think it's a great project, and I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Novoselsky. Councilor Guanasso would like to speak next. I just want to remind the councilor that his meeting subcommittee comes up in about 7 minutes, so I'd hate to think...
So that means I could speak extra long, because it's my subcommittee.
I'd hate to think, unless you're going to cede your time, that you would go
I'm going to be brief.
All right,
Three-minute rule, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Certainly, everybody has been giving the great accolades to individuals who are going to operate and run this particular business and make it grow within our community. But the most important fabric of it is that it's Revere people investing back into Revere. And I'm sitting on this council for several years now, and I see all too often many outsiders coming in and seeing the value of our properties in our city and want to develop them. It's very important to me to see Revere people want to develop them also. So this is a step in the right direction in terms of what type of building will go there. We certainly know that Ray and Dana will offer out a quality product. It's displacing a gentleman that I've known for many, many, many years and love him very dearly, but he understands that sometimes with growth you have to keep going forward. But this project will be wonderful for the area, and I think that the people of Revere will benefit from it. And certainly we have mindful people who are caring of others in our community that are going to grow this property. So with Priscilla's aid, she'll keep a watchful eye over them, and certainly they will do a great job. So I look forward to the meeting comes for a vote. I will vote favorably for this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the latitude.
Thank you, Councilor Guanasso. Councilor Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, for one, for this project. I believe it's a great small project, and hopefully it will enhance the area tremendously based on the backgrounds and the credits of the builder. Dana, he's got a good name out there. He'll be an asset to our community, as he did with his previous job at the Cafe Lucia. I'm just happy that Ray and Phyllis get involved and want to invest more money in our community. It's good to see Revere people put money in Revere. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Council. Council Morabito.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am also in favor of this project. First, because there were no complaints brought to my attention. Second, as a former beautification member, Priscilla emphasized beautification of this product. And by the proof is in the pudding with their past business developments within the city. I just think they have so much time vested in the city that they're not all talk. When it comes to putting a project in action, not only will they put this project in action, they're going to put this project in an area that is an eyesore and beautify that area. So I am in favor of this project.
Thank you, Council. Councilor Janino.
Thank you. Most of the council have already said many of the things that I had written down to talk about tonight, but I think the biggest theme here is it's a Revere night. They're all Revere people here trying to do things for our community and give back. We all know Priscilla and Ray, and Dana grew up on the street that I live on, so it's a very small world. And I think that if there was anyone to develop a piece of property in Revere, I'd want it to be someone from Revere that cares about the community, that has stake in the community and plans on staying here. And I don't think that there's a better family out there than this one. In terms of the project itself, in reality, they could probably build it without this. This is a formality, and they're coming here to clean up the zoning map and to make sure it's done right and that's what they're doing, and I hope it works. So I wish you guys the best of luck, and I look forward to seeing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Janino. I have a couple of questions, Corey. Trying to come to terms with this project. Let me ask you a couple of questions. First of all, the 7 lots, residential lots we're losing, is it, and it's difficult to tell by looking at the maps, are these what you believe to be buildable lots?
I believe there may be some issues with that because of the size. I believe they're very small lots at this point, and there may be what's a merger issue with the ownership. Those would be my 2 issues right now.
Yeah, so probably we would be looking at maybe 5 of them possibly being, with a merger being perhaps buildable.
I agree.
How many units do you plan on residential units? I'm not discussing the commercial component, but the residential component. And what are their what are their makeups intended to be at this point?
Sure. There are 18 residential condominium units, and that breaks down to 9 1-bedrooms and 9 2-bedrooms.
Okay. Yeah, I've got this. Thank you. Well, you know something. The problem I have with any zoning change is summed up in one word: density. We have way too much residential density in this city. When our zoning was developed, we have to assume that it was developed with some sort of common sense approach. I'm not saying that necessarily was the case. But certainly when we designate residential areas and designate what those single-family residential areas ought to be, we're thinking in terms of density, and one has to assume that this was thought of when the zoning map was set up. The meaning that we expect single-family homes to go in there, not condominiums. On the other hand, as has been expressed, and by the way, I'm looking at this strictly from a policy point of view. I could not possibly have any greater respect for the people involved in this, including the law firm. But nonetheless, I think what turns me just barely in favor of this thing is the fact that we're losing residential. We're losing a few single-family residences. We're gaining, we're offsetting that with perhaps more than I would like to see, maybe as many as 13 or so residential units. However, we are preserving the commercial characteristic of with the retail planned on the first floor. And as everybody suggested, it's probably a lot of land, a whole area of land that's not going anywhere unless we do something with it. But I just want to say, and I have to reiterate, that we cannot keep making exceptions to our zoning. Otherwise, our zoning becomes nothing but exceptions. And I would like to think that anybody who thought that I would somehow have an automatic vote for changing residential zoning to general business automatically would be completely wrong. However, in this case, I believe it probably just barely makes it over the line. So I think I would likely vote in favor of this. I'll entertain a motion at this. Oh, Councilor, hold on one second. Councilor Patch, Councilor Powers, who wants to go first? Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just I think should be read into the minutes here from the Department of the Planning and Community Development. I received a letter dated July 10th. Honorable City Councilor, regarding the zoning map amendment. Dear members, please be advised that the Planning Board, subsequently to the public hearing held on July 9, 2014, voted to favorably recommend to the City Council the application of Wakefield Associates, Inc., 544 Salem Street, Wakefield, Mass., for a zoning map amendment to change the zoning parcels of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 Washington Ave for general residence RB to general business JB. Respectfully, Eugene McKenna, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Patch. Madam Clerk, would you ask the Planning Board to, in the future, I appreciate Councilor Patch giving us this information. We actually should have it in time for our own hearing. So in the future, ask them to transmit that to us before our public hearings and our subcommittee meetings. I'd appreciate that.
I emailed it.
You did? I didn't get it. All right. Very well. Thank you very much. And Councilor Powers, did you have something else to say?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. when I, as a city council, look at any type of proposal, one of the first things I look at is the applicants, the people who are looking to develop in the city of Revere. And I couldn't think of any two finer people. They have a tremendous track record, and that's very impressive. I know that initially there were some logistics that had to be worked out with the present tenant, and I understand that has been worked out. The thing that really excites me about this project is that it has commercial components to it, and that's so important. I would like to see any proposal coming before the City Council, every proposal commercial, because that's the only way that this city is going to build its tax base and survive. Otherwise, it doesn't work. We just can't keep jamming large apartments into this city. I think condominiums are great. People buy them. They have an investment in them. I think the commercial aspect really is important. And again, to reiterate, I'd like to see that in every proposal that comes before this City Council. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Council Post. Council Patch.
Yeah, I just want to point out that I wasn't privileged to get this information. I was emailed it by...
No, I wouldn't suggest that, Council Patch. I'm glad you got it.
So what, but
At this
point, we all received it in email. Thank you, Mr.
That's okay. Thank you very much for that explanation. I do appreciate you bringing it to our attention. I'd entertain a motion from the subcommittee on this, if there is one. All in favor? All right, that's including my aye. The matter will be reported out to the full City Council in a very few minutes. If Council President chooses to bring it to a vote, we will probably do that. Thank you very much. That's the last matter before the Zoning Subcommittee for this evening.